All right, today we're going to dig into a really fascinating question, one that's kind of at the heart of where AI is going. How do we make these systems not just more powerful, but actually smarter, more efficient in how they use all that incredible power?
Okay, so let's dive right in. To really get what's so cool about the breakthrough we're talking about, you first have to understand that AI models basically have two different ways of solving problems. You can almost think of them as having two different kinds of brains. So on one side, you've got the librarian brain. The technical term is Retrieval-Augmented Generation, or RAG. This brain is an absolute genius at looking things up, sifting through massive digital libraries to pinpoint specific facts. And then you have the gymnast brain. This one uses something called reinforcement learning, or RL. The gymnast is all about practice. It gets better and better at complex reasoning by just doing it over and over, learning from trial and error. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. For the longest time, these two brains, our librarian and our gymnast, they haven't really talked to each other. They've kind of been living in two separate worlds. And that separation, well, it creates a pretty major problem.
See, because these skills are separate, the AI ends up being incredibly inflexible and honestly pretty inefficient. It gets stuck in one mode. It's either always running into the library, wasting tons of time and energy to look up simple stuff it should just know, or it's always trying to reason its way out of a paper bag, even when the answer is a quick search away. It just can't generalize well. It's like having a brilliant librarian who can't solve a basic riddle, or a world-class gymnast who can't look up an address. They're powerful, sure, but they're also rigid.
So this all begs a really big question, right? What if we could give an AI something more than just skills? What if we could give it the wisdom to know which skill to use and when, to know when it's time to hit the books and when it's time to just think? And that is where this research comes in with a really elegant solution, a new framework called UR2. The whole goal here is to stop treating these as two separate brains and finally create one unified mind.
UR2, as you might guess, stands for Unified RAG and Reasoning. It's a framework designed to teach a model how to dynamically switch between searching for information and just using its own internal knowledge. And the secret sauce is how it learns this. It uses reinforcement learning. In other words, our gymnast brain is basically teaching the entire system how to be smarter and more strategic.
And that's really the heart of it. This isn't about just cramming more data in or getting a faster processor. This is about teaching the AI judgment. It's about giving it the wisdom to know when to think versus when to go searching for an answer.
Okay, so how on earth do you teach an AI wisdom? It sounds kind of out there, right? Well, the way UR2 does it is actually super clever, using a specialized two-part training process.
First off, it uses this thing called a difficulty-aware curriculum. Sounds fancy, but the idea is simple. The AI gets problems that are already sorted by how hard they are. For the easy and medium ones, it's told, nope, you have to solve this on your own, using only what you know. But for the really tough problems, it's allowed to use its search superpower. It's exactly like a student who has to learn the material, but gets an open book test for only the hardest questions. And the second piece of this brilliant puzzle is a two-stage training plan. So in stage one, it's all about learning the ropes. The model learns the mechanics of how to search well, how to ask a good question, how to use the tool correctly. The goal isn't even getting the right answer yet. It's just about proper form. Then, once it's got that down, stage two kicks in. Now it's game time. It learns how to use that search skill to actually find correct answers and win. It's a classic learn the technique, then master the game approach. Okay, so the theory is sound. It's a really smart idea. But does it actually work? Well, you're going to want to see these results. They're pretty wild. This approach seems to be a huge boost for smaller, more efficient models. The research found that a 3 billion parameter model trained with UR2 got a staggering 19% average performance gain over the previous state-of-the-art. I mean, 19%. That's not a small improvement. It shows this method helps these smaller models punch way, way above their weight class. And here is the real mic drop moment. On a super tough reasoning benchmark called MMLU Pro, a pretty small 7 billion parameter model trained with UR2 scored a 53.3%. Now get this, that's almost identical to a much, much larger model like GPT-4o Mini, which scored 54.5%. A smaller, wiser model performing on par with a giant, that is a huge deal. And the researchers who developed this, they say it best themselves. They see this as a huge step toward creating truly adaptive AI systems, ones that can flexibly combine what they already know with the ability to go out and learn new things on the fly.
All right, let's step back and look at the big picture. What does all of this really mean for where AI is headed? Let's break down the key takeaways. First, this is a huge reminder that the future of AI isn't just about getting bigger. It's about getting smarter. We can make incredible leaps by teaching models to use their resources more wisely. And that efficiency is key because it saves energy and cost, which helps democratize AI. Smaller, cheaper, more efficient models mean more people can actually use this incredible tech. Ultimately, this whole approach is a path toward an AI that can truly adapt, one that knows what it knows and, just as important, knows what it doesn't know.
Which kind of leaves us with this one big, fascinating question to think about. Maybe the next great revolution in AI won't come from building an even bigger brain, but from finally teaching it a little bit of wisdom.